People say that high school is the best chapter of their lives. The 4 years of fun and laughter with friends and classmates. The 4 years of suffering and torment from schoolworks and teachers. The 4 years of learning and cramming lessons. The very thought of the relatively easy life in high school compared to college heavy loads makes me reminisce those days. There are, however, current ongoing DepEd plans of adding 2 more years in our 10-year education system. Would the same be said with, say, a 6-year high school education? Would it really make a difference in our educational system? As a student, I agree that it would make a big difference if DepEd would add 2 additional years in our basic education. Why is that? Well, because reading requires time. Studying requires time. Absorbing the lessons requires time. Practicing and putting the lessons into use requires time. Basically, everything related with learning requires time. And when every story, poem, theory, laws, and formulas are being rushed inside our mind, chances are we'll forget them as soon as the test is finished, or we'll learn the concepts half-baked. That is, we know the concepts enough to answer the test questions, but has difficulty in explaining it to others or relating it to our daily lives even possible? One of the main problems in our 10-year curriculum is that retention of the lessons learned is almost totally absent. What is the use of learning and studying a lesson or a subject if it will not retain inside our minds for more than a month or for more than a year? As said before, everything related to education or learning requires time. Aside from this fact, educators see the need of adding 2 years in the basic education to conform to global standards. The global standard is the 11-13 basic education before pursuing and attaining a college degree. According to CHED, the Philippines is the only country with 10 years of basic education. As a Filipino, what does this say? Does this mean that the Philippine nation and population aren't globally competitive enough to adapt the K-12 program? I beg to differ. We are indeed capable of adapting to this program, but a lot of our countrymen refuse to adapt and take up the next step. Higher and more advanced educational curriculum could also help our economy situation at present. Though there may not be enough guarantees and promises with the effects of this program, the risk of a negative outcome is almost close to zero. Nothing negative will ever come out of this, since K-12 is implemented to feed our educational need much better. Also, there is a need to improve the quality of our basic education. As I have observed, there is a public perception that the Philippines' educational system is faltering. One of the most quoted proof is the Philippines' performance in the 2003 Trends in International Mathematics and Science Survey, wherein the Philippines ranked dead last. The future generation deserves this change. Change will not be implemented and suggested if nothing is wrong. Obviously, something is wrong with the curriculum we have now. Why should we settle if something better is within our reach? Why should we continue with what we have if there is a new and better future awaiting our country? The K-12 program is a simple adaptation process in which the whole country will be somehow affected on. This is simple adaptation to change. If Filipinos can't even adapt to that little change, then how would they be ever able to adapt to the changes the world is bringing upon us? How will they ever be able to adapt to the bigger and more complicated changes in their lives? The K-12 program isn't the problem here. The problem, perhaps, are the people who refuse to adapt to global trend.